פרשת כי תצא, תשפ"ג, הנה מה דין אלוהים ואלוהים כאלה. הנה מה דין. Okay, so let's go quick into the pasuk. I'm not going to extend on the, as usual now, the questions, but there are the psukim here in this parasha are really not explicable. If someone pays attention to the dikduk, there's nothing that makes sense in any pasuk from the beginning to the end. His whole story of the Yefas Toyar, just for you to know, in order to disturb the armies, they used to have, it was a technique to use the most beautiful girls, all dressed up on the front line, so the enemies would not feel like killing them and everything. As behind them were coming the strongest wave, the strongest soldiers, and we'd kill into because they knew the mentality of a person. A beautiful girl has an impact on the person. Just gonna start a very broad question. Very, very broad question. This guy is a tzaddik. He didn't make himself a tzaddik by all alone. He has a wife. She raised her kids in the derech HaTorah. She helped him and everything. Now, she sends him to war, as we're going to see, which level of tzidkus they have in order to be able to go to war. You know, they came out of the Beis HaMidrash. They didn't even know how to use a sword. That's why they didn't have even a sword. So just to tell you, you know, who are these tzaddikim, how many nisim they had going to war. Oh, now all of a sudden, we're going to allow him to bring a 25-year-old girl to the house. I mean, just putting yourself in the shoes. If the Torah is so concerned, we're going to see about this Yefas Toyar after that, this beautiful girl that you're not allowed to take advantage of her. If you don't want her anymore, you cannot sell her. You cannot do this to her. You cannot give her even as a present to someone else. No. You got to be careful, you know, about her feelings. You know, you used her. So that's it. You have to treat her as a wife and let her go if you don't want her. Torah is very concerned about this woman. Is the Torah concerned about his wife? The Eshes Chayil? That made him who he is? Why is the antipodes here? On one hand, it's very cruel to the wife. On the second hand, we are overdoing for this little girl that all she had in mind was spilled Jewish blood. And that's how she's getting rewarded. Even the parsha after when a person will have two wives, we're talking about these two women. You know what's going to happen in this house when he's going to have these two women, the Tzadikes and this youngster? It's going to be a war. In other words, his wife won't have a life. You're destroying her life. Where is the concern of the Torah about his wife? We don't mention her once in the pasuk. We all mention this Yefas Toyar. Let's go into the language of the pasuk. If you go out to milchama, aloivecha. I left the pasuk of last week. Oivecha is written without a yud, one. And here oivecha is written with the yud plural. On your enemies. Enemies plural. Unsanoi, but he will give it to you. It is singular. No, he will give them. Unsanum. Should have been plural here. Hashem Eloikecha, Kadosh Baruch Hu, same language here. We explained last week. Hashem Eloikecha is always against pachad. 92. Beyadecha, without a yud, in your hand. In one hand, what difference does he make? All we care is about beating them. He'll give them to you in your hand. Veshavisa shivyo, and you will capture his captive. Veshavisa oisoi, and you will captivate him, not his captive. It's like someone that you're going to release. You're going on, an army is going on a mission to release some captives that were taken hostages by terrorists. That's Veshavisa Shivyoi. You will release his captive. But here, who is his captive? Very quickly, Vera Isa Bashivya, and you will see in the captivity, which means amongst the captives. Oh, you're talking about that after the war, now I'm going to scan all the captives because I have nothing else to do instead of going home. So I'm going to see if there's anyone good looking that we can set my mind on or whatever. No. The halacha is only at war you're allowed to, to that girl, but not afterward. Eshes yefas toyar. He could have said yefas toyar, that's all. Or isha yefas toyar, a woman that's beautiful. The Sifri will learn eshes because this is a wife. Eshes means a wife. Even if she's married already with a goy, she's mutter to the person. How far do we go here? We have never broken the basic rules of the Torah as much as we're doing for this Yefas Torah. It will never happen again. The whole purpose of the Chorban Beis Hamikdash is Kichilel Yehuda Kodshoy, because Yehuda was mechalel what's Kodesh to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ubal bas el nechar, and he went with a foreign woman. The Zohar Chadash says that there's on every chet a person does, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes his time, doesn't pay back the person, doesn't punish the person right away, takes it easy. However, for one thing, the reward is immediate. Is going out with a shikta. Because the real bris a person has, alliance, the true alliance, the true sign that we belong to Hashem is the bris milah. And when a person, even though they look, as the Zohar says, they look on the outside, in Zohar Balak, they look on the outside goyim as if they were humans, they're not. They're different breed of humans. They're not made up on the outside only. We appear alike, but the components inside are totally different. And when a person goes and desecrate the bris that we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes right away. So why is this one mutar? Oh, because I didn't finish the pasuk. You desire her so much. He has to say ba, in her, because otherwise v'chashakta means the neighbor or the whatever. Oh, that's the reason. I don't understand. This Tzadik became a Tzadik because he knows how to prevent his emotions to overcome his mind. Or all of a sudden, he sees this 25-year-old girl and he cannot handle himself anymore. He's not a tzaddik anymore. What kind of a tzaddik is he? On the outside, on the surface? And the Torah says you're allowed to take her as a wife. That's really great. You do everything wrong and you get rewarded. Va'avesa, we're not going to make it till here. Va'avesa teich besecha, you bring her inside your house, because in your house is not enough. El besecha, as we say usually in the Torah, it's not enough. El teich besecha, right. The inside of your house. Ve'gilcha es roisha, and she will shave her head. In Hebrew, it doesn't really translate like this. Ve'gilcha es se'ara, her hair. It's much more precise. If you say Vegilcha es Rosh, it means you're going to cut off her head. But that's not the intent of the pasuk, right? We all know that it means she's going to shave her hair. Ve'asesa estiponea, and mean she's not allowed to make her nails, right? She's not allowed to take care of her nails. But if you translate this, ve'asesa, and she will do her nails. So why do we translate that? You look at Rashi even, that she should look unappealing to her. That's why we tell her to look like this. But here it says the opposite. It doesn't say that she's gonna shave her head, toward her hair completely, and it doesn't say that she's gonna leave her nails. It says she's gonna do her nails. And for me, a woman that does her nails means she goes to the salon and she comes with beautiful nails. If the pasuk wanted to tell me she's not allowed to do her nails, he should have said, let them grow wildly like this, look disgusting. And it's going to keep on just being the opposite. Veheisira esimlas shivya, and she will have to remove her dress of captive. No. She has to remove her beautiful dress that she went out to war with it, and maybe wear a captive suit, an orange suit. But you don't want her to remove, if she's supposed to look bad, she should not remove the captive clothes, because the captive clothes, look at the guys in jail, how they look. These are not clothes, these are a jail suit. So why is the Torah saying just the opposite of how we teach? Veheisira simla shivya means she has to remove her captive dress. Me'aleha, from her. Oh, in case it's from under her arm, she's not allowed to carry it no more. Thank you for the precision here, because, there would be a difference. She would look beautiful if she had it on her arm or on her bed. So you have to know it's from her. That's the Isa. Ve'yashva beveisecha, and she will sit in your house. Ubachsa es avia ve'esima, she will cry her father and her mother. Maybe she doesn't have, maybe she doesn't like them, but she has to cry them. Interesting. Yerach yamim. You can't say chodesh. You can't say 30 days. Yerach. 1 moon. Like from the word yareach. For 30 days. What if she's sad at 31 days? Or what if at 15 days she's not sad anymore? The Archar can, and then Tavoelea, you can go to her, Uve Alta, and have relations, Vehoisa lechale Isha, and she will be your wife. Before is Velokachta lechale Isha, you're allowed to take her as a wife. Now she will be your wife. Just to finish, even though I'm eating up in time, I don't want to stay on this long. Vehaya im lo yechlafat staba, if you don't want from her, veshilachta lenafsha, you have to let her go free. Oh, great. I had an enemy, bloodthirsty, Jewish bloodthirsty woman that she doesn't want to stay. She doesn't want to become Jewish. It's big machlokes what I'm saying. But you just feel disgusted from her, put it that way, according to all the shittas. You know, you looked at her, she looked all well made up and everything, but once you take off the paint, she looks so terrible that you just want her out of your house. Oh, send her free. You cannot keep her as a slave. But she's going to go back to her misdeeds again. In the next war, she's going to be there again. You can't. You can't sell her for money. For gold, can I? Change her for an animal, can I? Trade her for anything else, for a field, can I? Is it only money? That's also. But you can't take advantage of her because you had relation with her. That's the whole inyan of the Torah. The Torah is so concerned. This man, through the heat of the war, he went with that girl. You know, it's hard to think at the time. Let's give him a pass on this. So he went with her. That's it. He can do nothing. He has to make his wife's life a misery, has to make his family life a misery. You know, he has to allow himself to be, I don't want to call it lenient, but using loopholes, but he shows his real nature inside. But to be a tzaddik, the Zohar will say, the Midrashim will bring it, the Gemara says it. This guy has never talked in his life between putting tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel rosh. Never spoken. He has never spoken between ishtabach and yoitzer. He has never spoken between shtil hay shmoneh esrei. So the shmoneh esrei we do belachash, to chazaras hashatz, which is a tremendous inyan in the Zohar, never to talk at that time, because then the shmoneh esrei cannot go up. You block the person who talks in the shul between the shmoneh esrei belachash to shmoneh esrei in chazaras hashatz, prevents the davening of the whole shul to go up, and he will pay the price for it. So we're talking, you see the kind of a level, even little dinim like this guy was not over. But obviously has not seen any other way. But when he comes, he sees a skirt. I mean, sorry to talk like this about a tzaddik. All of a sudden, his whole tziskus went through the window. What happened to him? I mean, obviously, I'm not the only one asking this type of question. The way I ask them is a bit different, but not afraid to ask the question right into it. But you see them hinted in the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, but let's go down and understand what's happening to this person, because now you're going to see that the Midrashim and the Zohar himself is going to explain that all the parashiyos that are going to follow after are exactly what's going to happen later to that person. Because that's going to be mind-blowing that this guy, the Torah, in order for him, because Rashi says, since the Torah went down to the head of a person, to the das of a person, and so that if we don't allow him, this woman, he will do it be'isur, then the Torah allows him. What if a person sorry, I'm going to be very crude because this question must be asked. Falls in love with a married woman. Say also, oh, the guy is a good Jew, is everything, because he desire her so much. So what? We going to permit him chas v'shalom things like this? Since when is the Torah changing, giving up, putting a knee down before someone is not going to withstand the Isur? Since when? Never. But no, yes, by a fast Torah here. Who is she, this woman? Especially for a guy like this. Eshes Yefastoyer, the Sifri says, even though Kenaanim are also to marry, and you must kill them, lo yisechaye kol neshama, you have a mitzvah lo yisase to not leave one alive. This one, she's mutar. Don't have to kill her. You can marry her. Look how many lavim are going to be removed. A woman on the Michemes Midian, when Moshe Rabbeinu, they brought him back, the women of Midian, he said all the one that had relations with the men should be put to death. Why? The Zohar explains. Because already a woman coming from this world, I mean, even though they will convert themselves, the bad in them still remains. You can never compare a Bas Yisrael born, even according to the Zohar, the neshama of the Bas Yisrael and the neshama of the Ger is different. Even though Hashem loves Gerim, and we have a mitzvah to love Gerim, but this is Gerei Tzedek. There are very minute numbers of the Gerim. You know that there are some out there, I'm telling you, they're so fantastic that they've been able to remove every part of bad in them. But this is not the general rule. When a woman comes from the other side, she's never suitable for a Ben Israel. That's the word of the Zohar Bar Yochai himself, explaining this to his son. So now you have, especially a Tzadik, I mean, I never know if it's heels over head or head over heels. I always make the mistake, but you get my message. He has this Tzadik, with white hair, and that's it. He can't contain himself. He feels like, we know from David HaMelech, he took a Yefas Toyer, a captive at war. He had 2 children with her, 1 boy and 1 girl. 1 boy Avshalom, and Samar is the girl. What happened afterward? Disaster. Disaster. Death. Not only of them, but many people around them. So why is the Torah permitting her? So, in Sefer Hasidim, he brings down in Siman, if I recall well, Shin Ayin Tes. So right between 2 parts of when he talks Siman Shin Ayin Ches and Siman Shin Pei, he talks about the union of the Yefas Toyar, and in the middle he brings a halacha which seemingly is not connected. It's also to marry a young girl to an old man, because you're going to push this girl, this young girl, to do znus. Why? Because you understand, everybody, he's an old man, someone that has white hair. That's it. So how come here the Torah, even on that principle, and there's a lot on this, Umala Aretz Zima, not to fill up the world with znus. Because a person who does this, there's a love on the father and there's a love on the person that wants the chassan, that wants to get married. So how come here, knowing what's the end gonna be, she's permitted? Tremendous machlokes in halacha how this thing happened. The Ramban, very short, because I don't want to go into it, otherwise I'm going to eat up on the time for the explanation, and it's more, I think we're going to get more by this. I even take it up. I'm not going to go into the halacha aspect. Tremendous machlokes on every bit of din between the Ramban and the Rambam. Unbelievable level of machlokes. Anyway, we see that in every aspect, the Torah, if he was a Ben Yisrael marrying a Bas Yisrael, this union would have been forbidden. But now, with this woman, you allow it. What's going to happen? First thing is, he's going to have no more shalom bayis. These two wives, as you can understand, will all constantly fight, to the point that he will go back to love his original wife and hate that one. That's why he says, two women, the original and the new one that he got from war. That's the Sifri Taishazab, the one that he loves, which is, he's going to realize, it means he's going to come back to his spirit, and the one that he hates. The Yoldu Ibanim, and both will have children. One will be a Tzadik, the second one will be what? Ben Soyer Umoire. The parsha of Ben Soyer Umoire is said, yes, if you end up marrying a Fastoyer, yeah, the Torah permitted to you. You will have a child that Beis Din will have to kill. That seems harsh. Then it becomes even less comprehensible. Why did you permit it in the first place? Rather that, why us Jews, we don't like to see blood. We don't like to chas v'shalom, to kill anyone, even enemies. We're very careful. We don't go like with emotions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and we let him control the world. So we don't kill animals for no reason. We don't do anything like this. So why would the Torah allow union that the produce will be someone who will be put to death? Not only this, it's going to be like Avshalom. Because if he's not a Ben Soyer Umoire at 12 years, 13 years old, he will end up with the Isser, he will curse, and he will end up hanging on a rope. Because the next parsha over of Sliya, hanging, is for him too. And whatever sons she has, this is exactly like David HaMelech. How did he die, Avshalom? He hanged on his hair. He hanged. The 15 Shira Ma'alos that we say, David HaMelech sent them in order to bring up the neshama of Avshalom from the lower part of the Gehinnom back up to the Gan Eden. Avshalom was not deserveful of Gan Eden. He was at the lowest part of the Gehinnom. If he was not for David, his father, he would have never made it. So we see mayhem to the other extreme will happen. It's going to be an earthquake. Would you find it smart? You're allowed to do something, your border, but on your border, you have a belligerent a neighbor, a different country, and they're crazy. Would you stop playing and bother them just to create a war? You know, a nuclear war? That would be stupid. So a smart ruler would say to people, please, or his army, don't camp right there. Because, you know, they're not going to do nothing otherwise. But if you start, you know, like the North Korean guys, these guys, some guys they're missing, 3/4 of the brain. So you don't start with them. So why do we start with this one? Just to create havoc after that? Heartache? Why is the father has to go through such a heartache that his son will be put to death? Because at the end of the day, it's his son. It's his firstborn. The Zohar Kodesh says, and so are gonna go Rashi, all the Rishonim. Obviously, it is true there is a halacha v'yefas Torah, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a tzaddik bringing a woman home, because then the pasuk, as we mentioned before, would be inexplicable. It would make no sense. I mean, some Mefarshim wanted to say that I don't want to mention the name because I was terribly choilek on this pshat. Not that the pshat has anything wrong with it, but I don't understand it from nothing at all. They wanted to say, kind of this Musa yeshivish approach. Something, because she's so beautiful and she shines to your eyes, and it's not normal that a tzaddik falls for it. It means she has in her something special that you need to take. Agreed. But the question is, you gonna read me this exactly like this? Meaning that every time I desire something, there's something there for me? You have then you open the floodgate for anyone to do what they want. You don't understand why I do this. I see a special light over there by this girl, or by this woman, or by this thing. So everybody can do what they want. Why? Because you give them a hater. It's up to their eyes. So, as the Sifri says, v'choshak taba, you'll desire her, not because she's beautiful. She can be even bad looking. But to your eyes, you desire her. Oh, you desire will translate, since when in the Torah we go in the heart feeling in order to define the halacha, which is logical, cerebral, and mindful. It's impossible. It's impossible. So the Zohar explains like this, and he says, first of all, just thinking how I'm going to give it to you, because there's such an inyan here, and there are very fine lines that I don't want to go into every time explaining the details. Otherwise, we'll be here till Mincha by Shabbos. Let's take it from the Maggid. I'm going to go first with the Maggid. I'm going to introduce you the subject a little bit. Sometimes a person does certain avoidance that they are punished of being a Gilgul, so the neshama goes back down into a goy. And this is a tremendous suffering, because this neshama cannot withstand the food. Just the food is an aggression to this neshama, and the neshama needs to live and pick up some nutrients. but from Dvarim Asurim, no bracha on it, no nothing. It's a tremendous pain. So the Maggid explained to the Beis Yosef, or remember the story, the Maggid is the Malach that was teaching the Beis Yosef. So the Maggid explains and says that this person, this Tzadik, Hashem shows him that there is in here a neshama that belongs to him and that will complete his neshama. In other words, there's either a neshama that's within the realm of neshamas where he belongs in Shamayim, or it's a part of his neshama that needs to be completed, and therefore the Torah, the Torah permitted her. In other words, the Torah created, Hashem created such a desire. It's not his desire. Hashem created a desire that the person intentionally cannot overcome. I'll prove it to you. I know it's going to be a bit challenging, but stay with me on this. You will, no, that's not the one. Stop sharing. Sure. A person can only do one thing. Kiseitze. That's all. We have the will to listen to an order, a mitzvah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Person has to go out. It doesn't say kiselech, it says kiseitze. You will go out. You're not comfortable. You have to go out of yourself. You're not used to this. You used to go after Seder, you go home, have your meal, have a nap, go back to Seder in Beis Midrash. Here you have to go and make violence to yourself. That's the only thing. You have a will, the ratzon to listen to a mitzvah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes it from there. So kiseitze, you need to put a comma here. That's how much a person can do, normal person. La milchama, so the one who goes to war, aloivecha, on your enemies, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring him back to your door, into your hand, that's Hashem. That's the work of Hashem. Look at this. If we take this, this equals 1036. If we say this is what Hashem does, the person does kiseitze, even though I have a lot of proof to this, but I don't want to go into gematria just for that only, just for you guys to know it's 521. So I have it all set up on every level with the 10 different gematrias if you want. But here, it's a concept to understand. La milchama aloyevecha unsonoi Hashem eloikecha beyadecha, in your hand, meaning you're still on the way out of your house going to the battlefield. Hashem already took care of the war. And by the time you get close to the battlefield, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is handing you your enemies. We asked before, what is Veshavisa Shivyo? We didn't understand. Now let me build it up for you. You think it's normal? Now, what is this 1036? Okay, it may be a bit strange, but I would like to know what is 1036. Okay, so let's see what's 1026. Keye in Atzilus, written with the Yud. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. So Keye plus this. Keye plus written again. Keye with the Aleph. Filled up with the Aleph. So it's 161, 161, 143, 151. Written like this. So you have 4 times Keye, it's 84. 4 times, by the way, these are the kavanas on all the tefillas of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, by the way. Just by the way. 616. Okay? So this is what we have. Basically, we have 700 here. Now we do the same thing with the Yud Ke Vav Ke. Yud Ke Vav Ke with the written as Chesed, Ab. 72. Yud with the Yud. Yud Ke Vav Ke, when in the Vav, it becomes an Aleph. The Sag in the Chachma, in the Bina. Yud Ke Vav Ke in the Tiferes, Ma, the 45. Yud Ke Vav Ke in the Malchus, it's 52. 232 plus 104. Together equals exactly 1036. 1036 is exactly one more than the 5 times it says oir in the Torah. It says 5 times the word light in the Torah. 5 times 207 equals 1035. Plus the Koil one, just to show you that when these names come out exactly as we read written in these columns, these are all the lights of my Bereshis. This is the Oir Ein Sof. This is the Oir Aganus. It's contained in the exact names. And that's the one that goes to war. That's what it tells me. And that's the one that's going to bring you the captive. So we said this captive, so you're going to captivate, or I don't know, and for the sake of having any better word, you will release, or you know, the captive of my captive. Says the Zohar. Now we're going to understand it. This person, every time in the biggest schmutz, like the daughters of Lot, with the actions what they've done, they passed on the nitzois of Mashiach. The nitzois, the grandmother of the Mashiach, is the oldest daughter of Ruth. Well, no, because, sorry. Ruth, yeah. She's the older daughter of Lot. Ruth comes from there. Boaz comes from there. Now, the true mother is the wife of Shlomo HaMelech, comes from Ammon, from the second daughter of Lot. How can Mashiach ben David come from such a schmutz? How can he come out from such a dirty place? Says the Zohar, because the only way HaKadosh Baruch Hu can bring down big neshamas to this world, because the kitrug that the Satan would do, wow, big neshamas like this would come, they will turn the world, we will have no more Reshaim that provide us our sustenance by doing Averos. These people are going to turn the world upside down and are going to be on its Tzadikim. Okay? So they're not going to let it happen. But once you cover it in bring it down Noach next year, I'll talk about it if you want, the nitzos of Mashiach, how he came out through Lot. And what's the reason, what's hidden there. But once you show them Israel made, the one with their father, oh yeah, they're so happy that already the party is going up there by those guys. They're throwing Hashem. In the meantime, he can put inside, he can put also a tremendous neshama kedusha. So these rich are here. This Eshes Yefas Toyer. No question she's a Risha. However, because of her Rishas, Hashem could put inside a tremendous nitzot that needs to be released. When he went with her on the battlefield, the ruach of the tzaddik touched his neshama and took her out. She's already without the neshama. She's already with nothing. And that's why. Now, let me show you again that, so you realize HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it on purpose because he needs to bring a neshama k'dosha to this world. So he put all these names, and in his names, you're going to have the, if you take Vera Isa Bashivya, what he means, I'm going to see. In Vera Isa Bashivya, I'm going to see a captive, in captivity there. Which one should we give you? Equals 936 equals, for the sake of it, just to see the pshat that we just gave, the pshat of the Zohar, neshama kedoisha etzla. For the pshat. Okay, there's a neshama kedoisha inside her, which is equal to the name of the Chachma here. Exactly that name, 13 times. Which is equal to Chesed. I mean, this neshama is reaching level that only to put her, it's like the best fruit are in the worst, they have a worst peel, bitter, whatever you want to call it. That's the Indian here. And that's why I say, we asked before, why Bashivya? Because by Shivya, you're supposed to see it on the battlefield. So why do you trick me with the word? No, insert here, page break. Come on. Okay, so Emuna, written like this. Aleph, Mem, Nun, Hey. The Tzadik knows we're not talking about a person to our level that has no eyes, that knows nothing. He knows all the inyanim, he knows everything, and he sees something is not normal. He tries to put his head away, he's not looking and everything, but he knows how to recognize the oir of an neshama. He's so used to the inyanim and to everything, he knows there's something there, and it's beyond his power to control. He has emunah from Hashem. It's the only time Hashem will do such a thing to a tzaddik in order to release a neshama from a risha. Now Hashem will do everything to that person that he should not marry that woman. And indeed, there was never a parsha of Ben Sarah Omer in the Torah. Never happened. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want such a level of rishus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows and has many ways to take care of her. Not that the good that was in her was removed, and she remains only bad, trust me, she will meet her fate. She ain't gonna be there for the next war. She's not gonna make it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many. Sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, my armies are the animals, are the flies, are the ticks, are the snakes, are the HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many armies to get to someone, you know, and can eradicate him without any issue. Why is this neshama, though, so important that we're going to see that we're not talking here about, because everything we said was based on this part of the pasuk. Let me just go back, find which page it is. That's the one. I'm going to try to bring it to you. Can you see here, or I didn't share? Okay.
No, I don't see anything. It's
Okay.
not shared.
Well, sorry. I went through a computer, but I did not.
Okay,
Who
it's
is
good.
it? Yeshes Efas Torah, because there lies all the secret of the reasons and the behavior that's going to follow up after that. All the reason why the pasuk won't have a language that's in order, specifically with what we said, is because of this. I'm going to remove the extra, this one. If we take Yefas, just to see who she is, equals 490. Who is 490? This is who she is inside. She is the emblem, you know, the personification, such a high level of bad she is, that she is the hedge. They live in her of the Sam and the Nachash. That's how bad she is inside. Why do we call, now you understand why the wife, when we say the Torah says she is a wife. Wife of who? The wife of the Yefas. And what do they do, these people? We know it's the Klippos, Evra, Vazam, Vetzara. These are the Klippos that went in Mitzrayim. These are the one that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent. Look in your Haggadah. So this is who she is, and that's why she is the wife. She's considered also the wife. It's so deep, that Inyan, that we can spend 2 days explaining you what the Chesed Avram, Avram Azula explaining here, which Klippos are coming to mingle with the Tzadik. It's just, you know, I'm burning to say a few words, but I'll stay away from it. Toyar, what do they have, these people that captures the Shekhinah? Something that up to the level of Shekhinah. Because Shekhinah in full, it's written like this: Shin, Chaf, Yud, Nun, Hey, equals 601. The Eshes Yefas Toyar tells you what's going on in this woman. This woman is Hitler. But so why Kadosh Baruch Hu created him? Because he used him as a vehicle to bring to this world also something tremendous. We might know afterward. Haman, some of the Bnei Haman was sitting in the Sanhedrin. So everything Hashem does it for a purpose. There's nothing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does without a purpose. There's a hashgacha in everything. You went out to war, you make this effort. On Shabbos, I'll give you a total different shot. I'll explain you the secret of the shofar and the simple kavanas to have, how it's hinted in the pasuk, how you beat those guys. So this is, I'm on the top layer here. But how do you beat them? Through the shofar, through Elul. Because Yerach Yamim, says the Arachaim HaKodesh, you have to cry for 30 days. This represents the person that wants to make tshuva, that has to basically cry, not cry, but make tshuva for 30 days, the 30 days of Elul. It's a different subject. Don't take it as literally as it is. And contrary, when you don't see someone for a very long time, what happens? You're very happy. When Yaakov saw Yosef after 22 years, yes, they cried. But they cried of pain or they cried of happiness? Of happiness. When you come back to Hashem, it's Ivdu es Hashem besimcha. You work with happiness. Every time you work with atzvus, every time you work with sadness, bad feeling, maybe and maybe, no, that's not a Jew. If Hashem wanted me to doubt, he will give me the doubts. The doubts, you bring them to your head. You have to be simple. Whatever is, and my eyes see, and my mind say, that's what it is. It's emunah pshuta. That's the message here. A lot of things happen around you. So now you can start being a philosopher and start driving yourself crazy and projecting yourself in a realm that doesn't belong to you, and you should not be there, though you get afraid. But you want to be on your 2 feet. Emunah, simply, Hashem does this, it's for this. No, don't be a chacham. So this person is only a vehicle in order, and yes, something bad has to happen as for a big neshama to come to this world. This neshama is to the level of the Shechina, because it's like releasing the Shechina from there. So you have Eshes, the wife. Yefas is Samael, Nachash. So the husband and the wife of the Yetzer Hara, the two together, the two that made Adam Arishon trip. Here they are into this person. And Toyar. And they captivated the Shechina. So now when you go fight, indeed, Veshavisa Shivyo, you have to release their captives. Who is their captives? It's the Shechina that was captivated by those koiches. So everything falls exactly in the language of the pasuk. He says, go out, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care and will somehow make it that you'll see and you won't be able to overcome. You want to feel bad, but no, you have to have emunah pshuta. I know my koiches, it's not normal that this happened, and you understand this was the will of Hashem to bring here to this world, but don't bring her to your house and don't get involved in this, because only bad thing will happen, to the point the Torah doesn't even want her in someone else's house because she's a shikta and she's a zoina, and you don't want to have a shifcha like this by someone else. She's not worth the first dime that someone would put on her. She should go back to her country, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. On Shabbos, we'll go quite deeper. But at this point, I think it gives us a good a good understanding of the Yefas Torah, even though I wanted to go into halacha, I didn't go into halacha, but he follows the same path. Anyway, how do I start?